yeah, well, there's that. Yes, there's
Yeah.
that.
All right, it's 4:30. You know what we're gonna do?
What are we gonna do?
We're gonna play some friggin' video games and talk to human beings. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday afternoon. We are going to guide you through the wonderful, wonderful afternoon of glory and sunshine and happiness that is upon us all. Welcome to How It's Done. How It's Done is Games Radar's weekly talk show where we hang out with a developer and talk about a really cool game they made. Sometimes, as last week, as what happened last week when we were hanging out with the creator of Edge of the Gungeon, we talk about singing toilets. I don't know if we'll talk about singing toilets today. I hope we'll talk about singing toilets today. But
Is this the point where it would be appropriate for me to mention that we have actually, it's going to sound stupid, but it's actually really insightful, an article on our fabulous website, gamesradar.com, about why every single freaking horror movie you've ever played has a bathroom in it.
Yes, and that is an ideal time to say such a thing. And that voice you're hearing, and that lovely mug you're seeing on the screen, everybody, is none other than our own U.S. managing editor, Susan Arndt. Hello, Susan.
Hello, Anthony.
Susan,
technically, I am not. I am just the managing editor. I span U.S. and U.K. I am.
You're
the bridge.
See, this is the problem with working for an international editorial outlet, is that you start to get confused. I want to introduce Sophia Tong all the time as just our editor-in-chief.
No.
But she is our global editor-in-chief. Whereas Ludwig Kitzman is our U.S. editor-in-chief. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Susan R. is just our managing editor, everybody.
Yep.
Much in the same way that I am just our senior social editor. My name is Anthony John Agnello. And you are watching me fail miserably already at OlliOlli2. Welcome to Ollywood. Susan,
Hollywood.
Now, I know that we stream some things sometimes, and that I'm not very good when I play them. I know that's a common occurrence.
Yeah,
But
that happens often.
It happens often. I just want to say, in my own defense, I don't think I've ever done any stream as difficult as playing OlliOlli2.
No, OlliOlli and OlliOlli2, both of them, very difficult. Not like Super Meat Boy difficult,
Right.
but it is meant to be a very challenging game. So your suckingness is not about your lack of skill. Well, it's partly about your lack of skill, but not entirely. It is largely due to the game just being hard.
Just really hard. And, in fairness, this is the equivalent of rubbing your belly, patting your head, and trying to do your taxes at the same time.
Yes.
That is the combination.
While pulling
of
off a manual.
While pulling off a nollie. And everybody, the reason that we're playing OlliOlli2 today is that we're going to be hanging out with the intrepid souls from Roll7, the creators of OlliOlli and other sundry games, such as Not a Hero. Susan, have you played Not a Hero?
No, sir.
Oh, Not a Hero. I think you would really dig that game. I think it is up your alley. It is a weird shooter. But yeah, Roll7, we're gonna have Tom Haggerty and the gentleman Simon Bennett. I needed to check Simon's last name there really quickly because I'm terrible with names, as we've learned on the stream before. That's just the way it goes. They're gonna be hanging out with us in just 25 minutes. So if you guys have burning questions for those dudes, stick around. They will be here. And hello to everybody who is joining us right now. We got Susan. Do you see who's in there?
I do.
Who's trolling on us?
It's
nobody's business. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Richard Mitchell hanging out with us in the chat today. Richard Mitchell, who is not just a dear old friend of Susan and myself, and not just a dear old friend of the show, he is now one of the latest contributors at GamesRadar.com.
That's true.
You can read a truly wonderful article by him about Destiny that is up right now, and about why you can still how you can still play Destiny and not do everything and be like Mr. Destiny guy who sinks 9 billion hours in there and does everything. You can still enjoy it. You can still be that person. Susan, you stopped playing Destiny, correct?
I did. I stopped playing Destiny not because I didn't like the game. I really, really enjoyed it as doofy as it is. Can we all just agree it's doofy?
Oh, it's so doofy.
Okay, it's doofy, and that honestly it endears it to me.
Yes.
Because if it was super serious, I wouldn't like it nearly as much. But having things like the Dinklebot, who is being phased out, and lines
he's replaced with DrakeBot 3000.
Yes,
that's what always happens when you need to spice up your video game.
Yeah,
you call in the DrakeBot.
Call in the DrakeBot, and or Robo Drake, and the I don't have time to tell you why I don't have time to tell you line.
Right.
That it's poetry to me. I just love it. But I also just really like how the game plays up to level 20.
Yeah.
But after level 20, not only do I really not like that leveling system, which you have to get motes of light, and it never made sense to me. You have to play with other people at that point.
Yes. Yes,
you just do.
And I feel, you and I had this conversation last year when Destiny came out, but I kind of feel like we were sold a false bill of goods when Destiny came along. Because Bungie's grand promise was that if you want to play this game purely by yourself, you're going to be able to do that. Like,
yeah, that's a lie.
We are going to make the game that we've sort of always made, and that's just not true.
Yeah, that's a flat out lie.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true until level 20.
Yep. Yeah. And
now,
but even then, and that's why I stopped playing, was getting to level 20 if you play by yourself is just a slog. Oh, did you enjoy going that distance by yourself?
I didn't not enjoy it. I did wish that there was more variety in the kind of pickup quests instead of just go find 10 whatevers. And if I never see the Cosmodrome again, it will be a very, very happy day in my life. But I was really totally okay with just like playing through the missions over and over for experience because I thought they were fun and I liked the environments. And as Hopland42 brings up, the Motes of Light will be gone. Taking King is completely redoing the leveling system.
Right, yeah.
I'm not sure you're going to be able to solo it, but I do think it will be more accessible to a solo player than Year 1 was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm going to get back in there. I don't know when I'm going to get back in there, because Metal Gear exists.
Oh, yeah.
And Metal Gear is, like, God, I've just been sitting there thinking, like, this is a series. I don't know what got in the water with the developers of the world in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Because The Witcher 2, if you are a completist, and you do, like, all the side quests and get all the armor, you can, like, get, like, 40 hours out of The Witcher 2.
Oh, really? Is that all? Oh my god.
Yeah, it is contained. And then,
I think I've already put that into Witcher 3.
Right. Like, in Witcher 3, going out and buying a pair of shoes will be 46 hours. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid, you can finish that game in 4.5 hours. And I swear to God, I'm like 9 hours into Metal Gear Solid 5, and I feel like it is just starting.
Yeah, you got a ways to go. You got a ways to go.
And awesome. Destiny is there. The Taken King is there. I'm excited about that. But by the time I finish Metal Gear Solid 5, I get that sneaking feeling that Persona 5 is going to exist.
Oh. Well, don't skip Persona 4 Dancing All Night, by the way.
So I've made the executive decision to not buy Persona Dancing All Night.
Foolish!
I'm going to tell you why. Why.
Okay, why?
Because I love rhythm games in my soul.
Yeah.
It is, they live there. Like, Space Channel 5 still lives in my heart.
Okay, as it should, because it's amazing.
I'm terrible at them.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm terrible at them, and I play them for a little while, and then I just stop. I just stop playing all over the place, and so that's where I'm at. So, and when it comes to spare cash for games right now...
Oh, well, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Like, be with me on this one, Susan. I could get Dancing All Night, or I could get a new 3DS with faceplates.
Oh my god, the new 3DS with faceplates. I don't even know what to do.
Faceplates! So, chat, I don't know if you guys know this. And also, chat, like, level with me. Are you guys going to get this sweet new 3DS? Even if you got one of the, like, capital N new 3DSs earlier this year?
Yeah, this is something I want to know, and here's why. Because I am like one of the 5 people who really enjoyed the removable faceplates on the Xbox 360.
Right.
I freaking loved them. I thought they were great.
Yeah, they rule.
Nobody else cared. Like when they announced the Slim,
Yeah.
I was, but what about my faceplates?
Right.
And seriously, I was at E3 when they did this, and I asked that, and the guy just looked at me like, "Are you effing kidding me? Really? This is what you're asking me?"
You're the one.
Yeah, you're the one. So the idea of I will get a new 3DS just for the faceplates.
Yes.
Because that's me. Is anybody else in the chat like that?
Yeah, I'm very curious.
I need to know.
Because, like, there was a very vocal contingent of human beings that, when Nintendo announced that they were finally bringing the new 3DS, capital N new, to the United States, there were a lot of vocal people being like, I'm really angry about this, and I wish that you were releasing the smaller model rather than just the XL.
Right.
And when I say people were really loud about this, I mean I was really loud about this. I was an obnoxious human being that week on Twitter, like the worst fanboy. Oh, what the hell, Nintendo bullshit?
Yeah, he's not lying if that's true. That's entirely true.
That was that very much happened. I make no apologies for my behavior. So I'm definitely going to get it, but I'm like you, Susan. Like I both think that the faceplate thing is irresistible, and I also, though, like having used one of those, that is the perfect model of 3DS. It is like I get a little bit of the claw hand with the XL.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of the claw hand, and it's just a little bit too big. I don't know what it is. It's like one of the few gaming objects that makes my hands fall asleep. That and the Xbox 360 controller. Like, the ergonomics of it just don't work with my body.
You know what used to do that to me? PSP.
Oh, yeah! Big time! The PSP, like, I don't know what it was in every model of it. Like,
I know, it was like right where it hit in my hand. I would watch, as I was playing, as I would slowly tilt this way as it got heavier and heavier in my hands.
Yeah.
Until I'd have to be resting on something by the end.
Everybody, if you are just joining us, thank you for coming. We're playing OlliOlli2. We're going to be hanging out with the developer Roll 7 momentarily. A little truth. So Susan Arndt has just gotten back from PAX Prime, and was repping Games Radar and her own non-profit, TakeThis.org, doing really fine work at this event, but also exhausting work.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, you know what Susan needs after PAX is...
Because you're such a jerk.
Susan needs to play her favorite game in the world.
Okay, I need to be clear about this. Because this is a running gag. I have absolutely no negative feelings about OlliOlli as a game.
Yes.
I think, it does what it does very, very well. That is not the issue. So where this comes from, there's a little peek behind the curtain for y'all.
Yeah.
So when you are a games journalist, you get a lot of press releases about games. You know, hey, we've added a new character, or now we're on a new system, or whatever.
Yes.
And so at Joystick, we ended up running like 15 different stories about OlliOlli.
In day one.
Yeah, it was just like every week there was some kind of OlliOlli story on Joystick, and it got to be the point where we were basically doing PR for the game. That's how often we were writing about them. So I kind of flipped out, and I made a rule: no more OlliOlli.
Yeah.
You just cannot write about OlliOlli anymore. We could reveal it. That's perfectly fine. But no more random BS about OlliOlli.
And I took this as the signal that I needed to pitch you an OlliOlli anything.
Yep.
Like every day since?
Yeah. Basically, that's how that's gone down. Because you are a jerk.
Because I'm a jerk.
Yeah, because you're totally a jerk.
Now, see, it's funny. Now, I have streamed with the guys from Roll7 a couple of times in the past.
And they're absolutely lovely.
Wonderful human beings. Wonderful
Yes.
human beings. But specifically what I want to talk to them about today, and this is part of the reason I wanted you on the show with me, was I want to talk to them about how you manage fatigue surrounding your property. Because, so OlliOlli2 just came out on PC, not last week, but the week before. But
it was out on like Vita and such.
It was on Vita earlier
Long
this
ago.
year, and then PlayStation 4, and then
Okay.
Like they have steadily, and they tend to do this with their games. They release them on everything, but they do it within a certain time frame. It's not like, like Thomas Was Alone.
Right.
Is still coming out.
That was
on
another
things.
one.
That was another one. And like that's
because we really love the game.
Of course.
And we want people to play the game because it's very good. But you can't just keep writing about the same game over and over and say, hey, now it's on a toaster, and now it's on your watch, and now you just can't.
And I feel like there is a moment, like, the thing that you face as a developer of games at any size, you want your game on as many platforms as possible, you want to reach the biggest audience possible, but even for people that are mildly interested in games, if they follow games just a little, and these are the people that are most likely to buy an indie game, you run into a problem where it's, oh my god, not only is the press not going to want to write about it anymore, but players are going to, get blinded to it. There's going to be some game blindness.
That's the thing. I mean, it's a fair feeling that, for example, by the time Thomas Was Alone came out on whatever the last platform it came out on was.
Yeah, which was General Electric refrigerators, everybody.
Which was right next to the ice machine.
Yes.
The cubes would come out, and that was very reminiscent of Thomas. That just about anybody who would have been interested in Thomas had found it somewhere along the way. Unless the very last version was the iOS version, because I do still feel like there's a divide between mobile and everything else.
Yes.
But like let's say the last console version that it came to, whatever. Because it's pretty reasonable to think, well, gee, wouldn't people have found it already on PC or 360 or Vita or what have you? But at the same time, the answer to that is, well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. And it's always not necessarily. Like, just recently, they released, Supergiant Games released Bastion on PlayStation 4, and I know that it's either out now or a Vita version is coming in the near future. And, like, in my head, awesome. Like, Bastion is a game that I love. It's beautiful.
It's so good.
And,
it's so good.
Perfect for Vita. Like, a perfect for Vita game. But I sit there and I think to myself, oh my god, like, that's a system already with an extremely limited fan base. And
I am one of them.
Like, you and I, we actually talked about this on How It's Done last week with the guys from Enter the Gungeon. They love Vita. They can't wait to get that done. But you want to know who loves Vita? Journalists and developers. And
Yeah, I know.
like 10...
General public.
Yeah.
Less so.
Okay, the people who love PS Vita, journalists, developers, and people who think Chie is best girl.
Chie is best girl. Oh my god. So at PAX, this actually happened, and I thought of you. Walking out on the final day. I am exhausted every way a person can be exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted, I'm emotionally exhausted, I'm physically exhausted. And a girl in perfect Chie cosplay walks by me. And before it is even a thought in my head, from my mouth goes, Chie is best girl.
Yes.
And I wished you had been there.
I'm so proud of you. Oh, God.
You are actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, I see that Sparks V says Anthony's OlliOlli game is pretty solid right now. Like, I get into a rhythm with this game. And this game is one of the few things that I play where I actually really enjoy trying to perfect a run on a level.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a thing that I really cotton to often, you know? Like, do you
it has to be
dig
the
that?
right... I do.
Yeah.
It has to be the right game. I don't do it all the time. But yes, I will absolutely... Look, I am the person who replayed You Must Build a Boat 5 times. 5.
Right.
So that I finish the game with a complete monster crew. Because some of them are hidden, and some of them are, you have to do specific things. Yeah, 5 times. Why? Just 'cause.
Just cause.
You don't get anything different.
Yeah, I just recently started playing N++ for the first
gosh,
time.
okay.
And I've never played the original N+. This is a first for the series for me. And I dig it. It's cool. Mm-hmm. But my patience for redoing those levels over and over again... Like, I don't get, like, into that headspace that I get in with OlliOlli2 where I'm like, oh, I gotta do it again. Oh, I could do that better. Oh, I need to hit this secret. I just think, like, I'm now...
It's weird how some games really latch onto you that way, and you're happy to keep failing.
Totally.
And some games you're just like, I just want to get through this level.
Well...
I just want to move on.
And it's not just... You and I feel very similarly about, like... I just don't want a game to waste my time.
Right.
Like,
right.
I just, like, don't stand between me and what's happening here. And that's not always what it is, because part of why I really like OlliOlli2, and the original OlliOlli, is how it's just, like, there's no wait between.
See, it's a game that knows you're going to fail a lot.
Yeah.
And then just gets you right back into it. Right back into it immediately. Okay, I have to ask, what's with the golden tokens? Because the purple tokens give you score.
Yeah, they give you a speed boost.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, 604,000. High score on the level. Yeah. See, there it is. There it is. That's like, I want that feeling. I want that goal. Everybody, if you have burning questions for Roll 7, hang out. Hang out with us. In 5 minutes, we're going to be making that happen. And let's see here. Let's see what's going on the Twitch homepage really quickly. Let's see if we're there, Susan.
Okay, let's do
that. Let's go and see if we are on the Twitch homepage. We're not.
We're not. Oh, of course not. Yeah, so it'll be a more intimate gathering.
It'll be an intimate
today.
gathering.
While we're talking to Vita appreciators, aficionados, I must tell all of you to go play Lost Dimension.
Oh, yeah, the RPG.
Yes.
So, can you explain what it is? Because I don't totally understand what kind of RPG it is.
Okay. It is a tactical RPG.
Okay.
In that, you will start a level, you will have a victory condition for that level. It's usually defeat all the enemies. Sometimes it's just defeat a specific enemy. You're never limited to an amount of turns. You can take as long as you need to, which is nice. But the faster you do it, the better ranking you get at the end of the mission. And better ranking gets you better rewards. Now, In between missions is where the story happens. All of the characters go back to a hub, and that's where you have the opportunity to talk to them if you want to, where you can review the bits of lore that you find in some of the levels. You can do all that. And it's a really cool... what I really love about it, it's an RPG that forces you to change the way you play party-based RPGs.
Ooh, how so?
Because, okay, so normally in a party-based RPG, you find a group that you really dig, and then you stick with them. Maybe you swap out people every once in a while, but by and large, you tend to go into everything with the same group. You can't do that for two reasons. One, at the end of every chapter, this is the whole shtick of the game, one of your number is a traitor, and the traitor is selected at random by the game.
That is so cool.
Yeah, one of the characters gets erased at the end of every chapter. So they're gone. Boom, you can't use them anymore.
Wow. All right.
The other reason is in order to figure out who the traitor is, because it's randomized, the things they say to you have no bearing on whether or not they're a traitor. After you complete a mission, everybody on your team has a supernatural gift of one kind or the other, and yours is that you're psychic. So after each mission, you will hear people's thoughts, and you will know if anybody in your current party could be the traitor. Up to 3 different characters. The traitor is among one of 3 characters every single chapter, and so you have to, by mixing and matching your party, you have to narrow it down to, well, okay, I took this group in, and there was only one possible traitor in this mix. But if I took this group in, now there are 3 possible traitors in my party. Okay, so you have to mix and match to try and narrow it down to figure out who you have to vote for at the end of the chapter.
Oh man, this is for a Danganronpa obsessive like yourself.
Yes!
This sounds like crack.
Exactly! It's super, super cool. And the tactical RPG combat, super satisfying.
Awesome.
Really good. It's one of those, going back to what we were talking about, having fun when you're failing, when you lose a mission, you know exactly why.
Wow.
And it's enjoyable because you're like, oh, well, if I just tweak my strategy this way, I'll do better.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, Smelly Tunic, it is exactly like playing Mastermind. That is it exactly.
You know what it's time for, everybody? I think it's time to bring these wonderful cats in here.
We're
gonna get old Tom Haggerty up in the business.
Dan Haggerty, what?
Dan Haggerty. You guys can see Tom Haggerty is everybody can see this on the screen. Dan Haggerty and Simon Bennett are chatting it up already and saying dolphin punch, mammalian touch, and shark kick. Susan,
what?
Wait do you get to hear about John Haggerty's ideas for VR games?
Oh God,
they're my favorite.
Are we punching dolphins? I'm kind of on board with that.
Oh well, they'll tell you all about dolphin. I'm hoping that Dolphin Punch has gone into full development at this point. There is Tom, and let's get rolling Simon in here as well. We'll call these gentlemen up. Right now. We're gonna bring them onto the line. We're gonna need them to turn down their radios, so there's not feedback. Tom,
hello.
Simon, do we have you on the friggin' line?
I am here.
Oh, Tom,
Yay!
Tom, you wonderful human being. Welcome.
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Simon, are you with us?
Dolphin!
Dolphin Punch! The greatest game in the entire world that you've never played, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, hello. Welcome. If you are just joining us, welcome to the show that is called How It's Done on Games Radar. My name is Anthony John Agnello, and today we are playing OlliOlli2 with the folks from Roll7. We also have managing editor of Games Radar, Susan Arndt, with us. Hello, Susan.
Hello, Anthony.
And
hello, guests.
And hello, guests. Hello, Tom Haggerty of Roll7.
Good evening. How you doing?
And Simon Bennett of Roll7. Hello, Simon.
Hey.
Dude, okay. So before anything else, now the last time I streamed with you guys, we were discussing a wonderful VR project that Roll7. It's all in the conceptual stage, everybody. It's still early days. But
things have changed since.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been out in the field. We've been testing it live.
You've been punching dolphins out in the wild?
In Miami.
On
SeaWorld,
location.
maybe.
On location. Okay, so to fill everybody in, we were talking on the last time we streamed about a VR project that is called Dolphin Puncher. As you can imagine, it is a game of erotic violence. Would you guys say that that's a fair way to describe it? Erotic violence?
That's got to be the only way to describe it, hasn't it?
Yes, I think so. It's self-explanatory. This is not. Actually, wait. Just for clarity's sake, guys.
Okay, wait.
It's
So
not
are you
real, right? It's not.
Are you punching a dolphin who stole your man? Is that how this works?
I mean, there's no real reason for the violence. We did try to come up with a narrative, but the idea is you put a VR unit on, you're on a boat, and then you're standing on the side of the boat, you look down at the sea, and dolphins and whales start jumping out at you, and you hit them as they come past. So it's got all the haptics here, and you've got probably gloves on your hands that give you feedback. And that's it, really.
I want to play.
I think it sells itself.
So
It's sponsored by SeaWorld. We've just done a deal with SeaWorld, and they're on board.
that's a sponsored product. I'm surprised that they're willing to take such a bold.
No.
risk.
It makes perfect sense to me because honestly, the dolphins at SeaWorld are complete divas.
Are they really?
Oh, they are.
Is
They
that
are.
that's a thing?
This is absolutely true. Okay, so if you go to SeaWorld, there, at least in Orlando, there's a big pool where you can feed the dolphins. You spend your buck, you get 3 sardines, you can lean over the edge and feed the dolphins. Great. The dolphins have figured out that they can come close enough to eat the sardine and then scoot back so you don't touch them.
Oh, that is bold.
Right?
Oh,
Right?
get
And they're
over it,
they're-
dolphins.
They're clearly laughing at you the whole time. They're like, sucker.
God.
Oh, wait, no, maybe this time. Maybe this time I'll let you pet me. Hey, oh, so close.
I suppose,
Yeah.
if you live in, horrific captivity, that being a dick is probably, a small comfort. That's gotta be well, at least I get to be an asshole. That's gotta be the dolphin thought of the day. See, we would never... Let's be clear that I don't support dolphin punching when they're captive dolphins. These have to be wild dolphins
Oh, yeah.
that you're punching.
Yeah, that's
I wouldn't do anything so mean as to punch a captive dolphin.
Yeah, no, that's just not fun.
Disgusting.
It's like that old phrase, punching captive dolphins in a barrel. That's what people say.
I thought it was
And-
punching captive dolphins on a Saturday night.
It is.
No? Okay.
What's really strange is one of the points in the contract that SeaWorld wanted to add was that all of the dolphins that were punched were captive.
Oh!
That's a weird... God, that's
See,
a
this
weird, request on their
I'm
part.
telling you, the people at SeaWorld are
Strange.
fed up, man.
Yeah, first killer whales, now this.
I
son
missed
of
you
a-
guys. I missed you
That's
guys.
the real reason their dorsal fins kind of flip over. People think it's captivity, but it's all the punching.
It's all the punching.
Just from all the punching? Yeah. It's from Dolphin Fight Club.
Yeah.
So, all right, Thomas, Simon, I have a very serious question for you. Now, I know OlliOlli2 just came out on PC, not last week, but the week before, right? It's been 2 weeks?
Yep.
And you guys worked with a second studio to help with that port, correct?
Yes.
Now, what is their name again? Because it is slipping my mind.
Blipworks.
The Blipworks. Now, can you walk me through the process of what that is like when you work with another studio on porting? We talked last week with the guys from Dodge Roll Games about what it's like to do port work as a studio themselves. To, be like, all right, well, this is what we can do to build some quick cash as a studio, and then, fund something really awesome that we want to make, like Dolphin Puncher. But I'm very curious what it's like when you actually go out into the wild and try to find somebody to, sort of take your baby and steward it to a new platform. How does that work?
Well, I suppose, in terms of why we do it, it's a lot less work if you farm it out to someone, which is quite nice for us, and then we can focus on, like you say, Dolphin Punch and the next few ideas. But we've actually worked with Blitworks a couple of times now, and they were suggested to us by the guys at Sony. So they've done stuff like Fez, they've done the Spelunky port. So they've done a load of really good titles, and so they were introduced to us when they actually did the OlliOlli PlayStation 4 and 3 ports.
Oh, all right.
So we just built the Vita one. Me and Si were discussing this yesterday, really, about our kind of plans moving forward, because we've got a lot of things on the table at the moment, and what we think we're really good at is, that initial idea, the concept, and the, making the actual game. But in terms of the technical skills needed to port something like PC, where you've got hundreds of different types of PCs, different screen resolutions, different platforms that you're working on, so, Steam, GOG, Get Games, etc. Blip took it over, and they pretty much do all of it, and we just do a very kind of intensive QA process. So we make sure that the game is the game that we built, it feels the same, it runs the same, and that people on the PC are going to get exactly the same experience they get on the PS4.
It seems that would be the most important thing that happens in the porting process, is making sure that the game is as good as it is supposed to be. Like, do you have to do anything different from your usual quality testing process? I know you guys have a very rigorous, that's not a word. Rigative isn't a thing that
it is now.
Rigative! I don't know.
We've got a head of rigativeness.
I like a nice rigative with bolognese sauce. That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
But you guys do have like a very, very rigorous process for playtesting. I know that many of the ways that OlliOlli and OlliOlli2 work was born out of an insanely, in-depth quality assurance process.
Yeah, indeed. When we were building the original game ourselves, it was, we got, I spent around 60, 70 people in to kind of play each level, kind of test each challenges, and we built up a load of data as to what people are finding too easy, what people are finding too hard, and then that goes back in, and we could iterate on the levels and then retest them. And then for the PC version, it's more about, something quite critical, and it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but frame rate. So our frame rate does not drop at all in OlliOlli on either version, on PC, unless you haven't got the right graphics card or the right spec, the frame rate doesn't drop. And it's really important in a game like OlliOlli because of the timing. So if the frame rate drops even a few frames, which in some games you just might not even notice unless you've got a really kind of keen eagle eye, it's going to completely ruin your timing. And I think, as you know, timing is absolutely key.
Yes, it is.
In this game. And if that changes, then again, I think we were talking about this last time, it's always key that if you make a mistake, it's got to feel like your fault. And if the frame rate's dropping, then it's not your fault. And then you throw your control in rage and don't play the game again. So that's one of the key kind of things we were looking at.
So, say something in that porting process goes wrong. Say, you get something back from them that is just garbage. How do you go about fixing it? Do you send it back to them immediately with just notes, or do you have to like get on the horn and say, here is how you're messing up, etc., etc.? I'm very curious.
Yeah, I think it's definitely kind of... We talk to them the whole time. So we never kind of just send it off and then they come back to us a few months later. We're kind of playing builds all the way through, just like you would from the original game. You know, there's a first playable, and then we'll test that. You then get to alpha, beta, and then kind of final release candidate. I think luckily we haven't had anything that's come back where we've had to...
tear down the walls, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Blitworks are in Barcelona, so it would actually be quite good if we had to go there.
Strategically, they moved their offices to Barcelona so that they were always, quite a distance from us.
They don't want you kicking in the doors.
No.
Oh man.
Then the frame rate's not good enough.
Yeah.
I think that would be one of the greatest pleasures. So,
I thought it was more about less about being away from you, and more about being closer to really good paella.
Yeah, and weather. Nice people.
Not rain. Guys, I gotta tell you, just recently, in the past couple of weeks, I was in the UK for the first time since 1997.
You didn't
I have to say, number one, I'm really disappointed that there aren't still posters for Oasis's Be Here Now everywhere. And there's 95% Too Little Jamiroquai on the radio now. So, Susan, how much do I get to milk the Jamiroquai thing? When do I have to stop?
You're managing to squeeze it into a shocking number of conversations.
I just like talking about Jamiroquai. I his hat is just the best. Even now, it's the best. So Susan and I were in the UK together, and I have to say, my return trip, I enjoyed it. I was happy to be back there. You guys deal with like some temperatures and weather that I just do not think is ideal. I think that maybe if you guys want to look into relocating the studio, I think that might be something to consider.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have actually just relocated the studio into the clouds, but currently the clouds are pretty...
It's just as moist? Is that what you're telling me?
Moist and wet, yeah, in England at the moment. So it would be nice to move them further afield. We're having like the worst summer ever.
Is it that bad?
Yeah,
one thing we're discussing is kind of heading up to the top of Scotland and getting, like on the speedboats, you get those little engines.
Nice.
Attach that to the top of Scotland, and we're just going to drive the UK down and park next to Portugal.
I support this plan. Get you an Evinrude and just right on down.
Yeah.
Such a good plan.
You could take Jamiroquai and his didgeridoo player down there.
They could start a whole new life together. It would be beautiful.
So,
I think Oasis would reform, do the Be Here Now tour. That's the album everyone wants.
Nobody wants that.
The Be Here Now 20-year anniversary tour. Magic.
So Sparks V in our chat has a very interesting question about potential OlliOlli2, and if you would consider changing the art style.
I mean, we're talking Embargo Central here. Oh my god.
It's a friend DA. It's just us.
What was the question?
It is, what will OlliOlli2 look like, and how many platforms can you confirm it for?
It's coming out in July next year on Xbox, Nintendo, and did we say Lynx?
Atari Lynx.
Sweet.
GameCube.
I haven't had anything to play on that since
Atari
Clax.
Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Wonder Swan?
Oh, Wonder Swan?
Yeah. We're just going Sega exclusive for OlliOlli2, actually. Master System.
So this is actually a legitimate question. Literally, the last time I talked to you guys was the day that you shipped Not a Hero.
Oh my god.
And you were both festive. Let's go with festive.
Festive. They were drunk. Let's be honest.
You guys were
They were lit like a Christmas tree.
Shit-canned, and it was great. I was so proud of you. But it was also the end. It was the end of a wild 3-year tour of working nonstop on 3 different games. You guys have been in production for 3 years straight, and finally, you weren't. And I would assume that you guys have taken like a little bit of a victory lap in the past couple of months. Like, have you been, like, did you actually go on break since you needed to do QA on the PC edition of OlliOlli2? But besides that, were you actually able to stop developing for a change?
Yeah. For John and I, yes. Tom took a little bit of a break and went to a failing economy in Europe that you might have heard of, where they have lovely islands and nice food. And John and I took some time off too. John went to E3 for his holiday.
No! What? What?
Doing it wrong.
That's not a vacation. That is the least restful thing that you can do.
I know, but he seemed to enjoy it. So he stayed at the Devolver Mansion. So our publisher Devolver, he also did Hotline and Titan Souls, etc., etc. So he just spent his sort of week in LA talking to other developers about their games and basically kind of doing gamey stuff. And I went and sat on a beach in Bali, which was nice.
Oh,
and now
That's the right way to do it.
Yeah, and Tom is about to do the same thing. So Tom is awaiting his second baby.
Oh, hey, Tom! Congratulations, man. Tom, are you?
Oh.
Tom is so silenced by the idea of further procreation that we lost him, I think.
Has it happened?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Tom. You're back. You're there.
Ah, good. Sorry, my internet seems to have dropped me off.
That's no problem.
Yeah, I am taking Simon. Yeah, Simon got the nice break in Bali. John went to E3 and Berlin as well, actually. And yeah, like Si says, I'm going to be just looking after a crying child for a couple of months and sitting in the winter. So I haven't done it right, I don't think.
You brought this on yourself, though.
Yeah, that was a personal choice. Susan's right.
You gotta own it. You gotta own the decisions that you make. You're like, damn it.
No, the baby's Simon.
What?
That is an odd statement, sir. You've adopted Simon? Is that what you're saying?
This is all going
No, the
somewhere
baby is
horribly
Simon.
This
dark.
has gotten so weird so fast.
Of course, well,
Yeah,
we
were
started with dolphin
very
punching.
busy
I mean,
9 months ago.
Tom, I actually do have a question. You know, this is something...
This is mainly wife swapping.
How, like, does becoming a parent change the way that you develop games? Was there a moment where you thought to yourself, like, you know, I no longer am building something from the ground up for me, but for something that my kid could play? Oh, did we lose him again?
Okay, I will answer for Tom there because he's not on the
Guys,
line.
I'm really sorry, my line is terrible. Yeah.
No problem.
I think what Tom wanted to say there is when Steve says, "I'm going to punch you in the fucking face," he really would love that his 2-year-old would hear all of that. I can't answer for Tom because I'm quite drunk. It's 10 o'clock here.
no, I think that makes it better.
Yeah,
honestly.
that makes it way better, Simon. I don't want you guys ever on this show if you're sober. That's my rule.
Tom felt really embarrassed earlier because I Skyped him in and I said, I've knocked back half a bottle of wine. How are you getting on? He's like, I've not had anything to drink. Maybe I should go and get a beer.
I think his beer broke the internet, man.
Anthony, are you calling him back? Give that a try?
Skype is, I think, doing the work. Can you guys hear that tone? That's
No.
No.
Oh, am I back now? Can you hear
Tom!
me?
Oh, there we go! Yay!
Tom, you don't have to lie
Hey.
about needing to go get a beer, man. You don't have to. You don't have to. Oh, my internet's out. You don't
Air
have to
quote,
say that.
my internet is out. Glug, glug, glug.
No, that's what I say at the meetings that I have to go to. I have to come up with excuses.
Man,
Darkest stream ever!
darkest stream in the world.
Dark!
The exact same thing that happened to me last time we streamed OlliOlli is happening to me again today, wherein I get to the goddamn carnival and then I can't play anymore because I'm terrible. No, Tom.
Really well, you were.
Yeah, I know. God, these carnival stages are so damn hard. Tom, yeah.
Pretty are they?
Oh,
How
they're
pretty are they?
so
Look at the
pretty.
pink.
Very pretty, Simon. I gotta say, like, that very first jump in the carnival levels, that very, very first jump is, like, impossible. Yeah, it flummoxed me for the longest time. I was never able to even get through that stage until today. That was the first time, right here, right now, I was talking to you guys. I'm pleased by the result of that. Tom, I had asked you a question just before we lost you about how parenthood changes the way you make games. You have a 2-year-old and now another one coming. Has having a kid changed the way that you think about what you make?
Right, this makes sense because I could kind of hear what Simon was saying about Steve. That all makes sense now. I suppose, interestingly, we started OlliOlli. That was actually signed before I had my first son. And so, as I've had more children, the games have got a lot more violent, a lot more bad language, a lot more bad taste. So it's actually been the reverse. You would have thought our games would have come out in the opposite order. And having kids would have made our games more responsible. And so I suppose, I would not... I did actually have Theo, who's my son, on my lap a few months back when we were final throws of Not a Hero, because he's interested in what we're doing. And I realised halfway through that I really shouldn't have him on my lap because, Steve's going, fucking hell. And he's a really good mimic, so I was like, right, better just put him out of the room. OlliOlli's much nicer to play.
Your wife speaks like that as well to him, so it didn't make any difference.
She's a proper cockney, my wife. Fucking hell, Theo, get to fucking bed. Can we swear on this stream? Bud?
Yes, you absolutely can, are encouraged to. That is not. I am not saying that my parents were foul-mouthed. They're wonderful human beings. I love them both, but that sort of like go to fucking bed thing. That's I ran into that one a few times. Susan, is that comparable to your experience?
My parents drew the line at certain words.
Certain words.
Yes, like, the F word was never dropped in my house, ever. But, you're goddams, you're hells, you're shits.
Oh, of course.
You're bastards, of course. All of the above.
The worst, though, let's be honest, the worst was the quiet disappointment.
Oh,
yes.
Of course.
Always. Simon, there's nothing worse than a quiet disappointment. Tom, a toddler, do you even need to do the quiet disappointment yet? Like, that seems like the kind of thing that has to wait until you're a teenager. And then
he doesn't get that. No. It's it's the naughty step at the moment. And my wife just makes me go and sit on it when I've misbehaved.
The naughty step.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to go sit on
It's
the
all
naughty
about
step.
the naughty step. Oh, yeah. I still don't understand why, when you tell him to go and sit on the naughty step, he will stay there. Because he won't do anything else, I say. But if you tell him to go on the naughty step, he sits there. So we've introduced a bit of that. The odd kind of hitting him with rulers. That kind of thing when he misbehaves.
Yeah. Right into the dolphin puncher simulator.
Yeah. I've put him in the shed a couple of times, just for a couple of days.
Oh yeah, you don't want to
Yeah, not a
overdo it.
long time. Like,
No,
how else will they learn?
it's not really a crime until 4 days.
Ladies and gentlemen, Games Radar does not offer parenting advice. The opinions of the hosts and guests are their own.
It's important to recognize that neither Anthony nor I have children.
Yes.
So this is really on you now, Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is all
I mean, they're your kids,
Services
Simon.
are on their way.
Well, that's true. I mean, Simon, you got to take
One's
responsibility
John.
at some point.
Yeah, I did sign a waiver somewhere along the line, I'm sure.
No. Waivers go out the window the minute the bottle of wine is opened, my friend.
Yay! You finished the level.
Yeah, I finished one. I don't know if you noticed, Susan, but I bailed on the one that I couldn't seem to beat. I just went to the next one.
Oh no, I didn't notice.
I was really hoping nobody would see that one. All right. That goes back to something that Susan and I were talking about before you guys joined us on the call. And it relates to the idea of not, hoping that nobody saw something, but dealing with the fact that it's sometimes difficult to make sure that people do see things. I am fascinated with the way that you guys have navigated bringing a game out. After you finish the first version and making sure that it gets on other platforms very, very quickly, at speed. And I know that you guys have help from Devolver with some of this, and you do a lot of it on your own. But, with OlliOlli, you guys had that Vita version out. It was on PlayStation 3 within a few months. And now, by the end of a year or 18 months, the original OlliOlli was on everything under the sun, and OlliOlli2 was on the way. That is awesome for an independent studio to make sure that their game is out there and as many people out there, that can play it will. But at the exact same time, you run into a problem of visibility. Like, how do you make sure that people, how do you balance making sure that people know that your game is out on everything with making sure that they're not sick of hearing about it?
It's really tough. Like, by the time that the last OlliOlli incarnations came out on Xbox One and Nintendo, we didn't think that we were going to make much noise, but we were very lucky that we partnered with Curve on that, who have done a number of different sort of port projects and some of their own IP, Stealth Inc. And we were very lucky to be the first cross-platform game between Wii U and 3DS, so that had its own news story that we could kind of hang off the coattails on, and with, I guess, sort of with some of those later ports, it does become really tough because it's the same game. Like, we didn't have the capacity or the team to create new content and to have a new story around it. So yeah, it's really hard. And really, if we were clever about it, and if we'd had the money or a studio that was capable of doing it, we should have probably done all of the ports in one go and released them all at the same time. There were a lot of different news story points, and we're learning as we go. But I think definitely one thing moving forward with new games is to try and be a bit more planned out on when things are coming out on which platforms. But as it happened, all of the games that we currently have out were all signed in 2013 and 14 before we even actually had launched a game. That's right, Tom, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're kind of dealing with our own legacy here in doing all of these different ports. But I think the good thing with OlliOlli now is it really does have a name for itself, and it is known. It is definitely known by all of the different kind of gamers across all the different platforms. So hopefully, when OlliOlli2 hits everything else, it will get the relevant noise. and people will be aware of the first one. And I think, as a game, we're so much more proud of the second one. It is for us the kind of the ultimate version so far. And there's definitely stuff we'd like to do with it moving forwards. But yeah, I've gone way off. This wine is just
It's just a perfect vintage. No, it's yeah.
What we were talking about earlier with something like Thomas Was Alone, you would think that by the time it got to the version that ran on your toaster, everybody who was interested possibly at all in Thomas Was Alone had picked it up on one of the many other platforms it was on. But Mike Bethel has said that every time you release on a new platform, you're introducing it to a new audience.
absolutely.
So it still has value to keep rolling out different versions, even though it's been on, Vita or PS4 or what have you for a long time.
You really wouldn't imagine it. It surprises us still when you see the sort of the numbers coming in from Xbox and Nintendo, which are technically they're a year and 2 months after the original came out.
Okay.
And and they're still doing really well because a lot of those people, they haven't maybe heard about it, but they're like, oh, it's a skateboarding game, cool, and it's a relatively cheap indie skateboarding game. I'll check out the reviews. It's done really well. I'll pick it up. There are so many millions of people out there who've got consoles who won't have heard about it, and the sort of our industry is a really the majority of the reach of the press of our industry is actually so much smaller than we think. A lot of people just buy a console, they turn it on, they see what's on the store,
right,
and that's it.
See,
and
but
so
even that's like a unique challenge of making sure that you reach somebody like that, because you mentioned that the Nintendo option is still doing really, really well, and like that, make no mistake, I really love the game, but at the same time I think to myself, if I was going onto Nintendo's eShop, I don't even know how I would necessarily see it if I hadn't already heard of it. Because you're not just dealing with the challenge of, making sure that you have something that somebody would say, oh, a skateboarding game, I'm interested in that. Getting them to even see that it is an option in the store is a tricky thing, and I'm interested to how do you get past that? How do you make sure that they do see it? Because the press is limited. The press is addressing a very specific audience. You want that audience to find it. You want them to proselytize for you. But then you want those sales from the random person who just plugs in the console and wants something to play.
Yeah, I guess a lot of that comes back down to, in this case, sort of our publisher's ability to get the game into sales and therefore in front of people maybe 20% off. And that's when you tend to get more store visibility. But yeah, it really is hard to get that actual, to get that space. And there is more and more content going on to all of the consoles at all time, and that problem is only going to get harder. We had it quite lucky with PS4. I think when OlliOlli was first ported onto that platform, there were 136 games on there.
Yeah.
And now we're over 400. So whatever game we do next, it's going to be a harder task. And I think that challenge keeps getting harder. And that's when you start having to look at bigger marketing budgets, stronger deals with platform holders to guarantee store space, and you have to be a bit more business-like and strategic about how you how you deal with it. Which I guess it comes to sort of maybe with all the dolphin punching and sort of shenanigans that we talk about. Actually, we don't like to talk about it that much, but we do take quite a strategic, businessy approach to a lot of the games, once they're done, because and sort of while they're being built, because ultimately we want to keep going as a studio, and to do that, you have to make a lot of really commercially tough decisions.
Well, I mean, Simon, you guys are at an interesting point. Before OlliOlli came out, you guys had your iOS background, your mobile game development background, and you had things out there. But for a lot of people, that was the first Roll 7 game that they ever played. That was your debut. And now, after 3 years, like you've had 3 critical and sales successes in a row. Like OlliOlli, OlliOlli2, and Not a Hero have all been very, very well received across the board. And like you are, as a studio, in a different place. And you say you don't want to get too deep into it, but like, do you find that these considerations that you have to make, commercially speaking, here on out, are changing the way that you think about what you guys want to build as a studio? Like, are you getting to a point saying, like, oh, well, maybe, if we had, like, a ridiculous idea, like Dolphin Puncher, there might have been a little bit more freedom to make that at one time, whereas now, like, you need to keep that success going, you need to keep growing, etc. How is your process going to change now that you are going to be starting a next project with all these kinds of expectations?
But I think it's an interesting question. I think, as Simon says, when we say we kind of take a commercial approach, we're not kind of, sitting there with, we're not doing a huge amount of market research or sitting there with figures, but we are kind of sitting there going, right, we've got X amount of time to build this game, and we need to put out a really good product, in 12 months' time. So, that makes us really kind of focus on the core elements. So it's more of a kind of decision-making process in that kind of sense. And like Si says, then once the game is out, then we can look at it from that strategic point of view. But I think moving forward, what we really want to do is make sure we build the games properly and as other game studios have done. Now, all 3 of those games, as you said, very kindly said, they've been successes, they've been received really well. But the development processes have been a nightmare. Is that fair to say, Si?
I would call them a horror. It's a horror.
Yeah. It's been really, really tough, and to the point where, all 3 of us, myself, Simon and John, have all had moments where we've kind of thought, can we continue doing it like this? And it's interesting, what we've been doing since Not a Hero was out is exploring that next game, that next option, and speaking to a lot of other bigger studios as well about how they deal with stuff. And something we've found out about is this magical phase called pre-production, which we've never ever done, which is where you work out what your game's going to be, and you actually spend time prototyping stuff. And we've literally always just jumped straight in and gone, right, go. I think OlliOlli2, we had some real problems with our engine. We actually had a completely different metagame for OlliOlli2 all planned out, but we just never got to test it.
Oh,
and we're glad we didn't.
You told me about this before. What was that metagame again? Like the different thing that you were going to sort of like manage? Is it a character growth thing?
No, you would never crash. So you might crash, but your character would then get up, and everything would be totally randomly generated, but so it would just get harder and harder and harder as you went on. And you would unlock spots as you went on, which you could then go back and play, but it would be much more of a sort of flowing, kind of iterative experience than what we've got there. But actually, thank God we did what we did, because I don't think OlliOlli2 could have been any better than it actually is. Like, it's everything we wanted to do in Olli 1 and a bunch more, and more beautiful, and sounds better, looks better. But yeah, there was a whole different metagame, like that we could never explore.
And so now, like, that's not going to happen again. You're not going to just like be like, all right, let's just start development now, and we'll figure it out as we go. Those days are done for Roll 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And stuff like all 3 of our games have had just one artist who does everything. So, the character design, the levels, the interactive objects, the menus, that kind of stuff. And that's an insane amount of workload to put on one person, and it really kind
I
of
was gonna say
spreads
that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. We did. Having said it, we have got another guy who comes in and does some extra bits as well, but he's not full time, and he's kind of ad hoc. We were speaking to someone recently. I was, Climax Studios, who did the Assassin's Creed Chronicles. They had, I think it was 12 people alone in their art team, which is actually probably quite small for a lot of games anyway. And they were saying that's quite a small art team. And we were saying, well, our art team was Jeff.
Jeff got it.
What, you guys don't have a Jeff? Come on! Yeah. I thought every studio just had a Jeff.
Yeah. And we also had one game designer who was kind of like come up with the entire game concept, then doing all the levels, then working out all the different modes. And again, something we've realised is that usually you kind of, again, you spread that load. And that's how people kind of can have normal lives and work in the game industry as well, which is something we'd like to do.
We're just calling out to everyone here. If you're really good at doing something in making games, it would appear that we've been massively understaffing all of our games in the past. So if you're an artist, a programmer, something called an animator. We've never worked with one of them before, but an animator, that's something as well, apparently. A UI designer, never done that before. We're still learning.
All right, Simon, I am not kissing your guy's ass when I say this. I'm really not.
No, he is.
Susan knows.
What's that feeling then?
The only person whose ass I kiss on the entire planet is Jamiroquai.
Oh my God!
I get paid by the reference to Jamiroquai.
There is no joke. You will not just drive, not just into the ground,
right?
But into the ground, through the basement, down to the sub-basements.
Yes, that's how you make comedy diamonds.
Is that
subterranean pressure, Susan?
Okay. Can I just get into the Jamiroquai thing here for a moment?
Please do, please.
You want to dive deep into the Jamiroquai thing?
I want to go deeper underground into the Jamiroquai. I want some stillness in time before we continue on into this equation. What is the Jamiroquai thing?
I'm probably going to Google some Jamiroquai songs and just get some references in.
No, here's I will sum up
get there,
the Jamiroquai thing for you.
Yes.
Anthony likes to say the word Jamiroquai.
She got it in one. God, Susan, you know me really well.
I do.
Just knows me so well. It helps that Virtual Insanity is a hilarious song. On the
it's a hilarious video, too.
It's a hilarious video. His hat is still funny. All of these things.
Hat will never stop being funny.
Yeah,
AJ's hat.
It'll be funny forever. And, oh God, I'm gonna die again. But it really is, it's just the word. It's just the word.
So none of my references have actually rung true at all. It's just the name Jamiroquai.
Yep.
It's just, that's it. That's it. In one. Okay, so before I was putting the disclaimer on there that I'm not trying to kiss your ass. I would have never guessed that you guys didn't have somebody who was experienced specifically with building UIs, because that's part of what is so much fun about looking at OlliOlli2. That little combo meter is...
It's true, actually.
You would think it was so intrusive. You would think it would be in the way. You'd think it would be distracting, but there is just enough on the screen to make you feel like you're doing something really cool without getting in the way of what's happening.
Yeah, it conveys all of the appropriate information without ever distracting.
Yeah.
Or getting in the way, unlike a game like Splosion Man, for example.
Yes, yeah. Splosion Man, or, any of... Or Skyward Sword, things like that. I'm trying to think of something else that's just way too crowded. But, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't make games. But I sit there and I think, you guys are going to get a UI designer now. and it's gonna bulk up the team. But is there any worry about having more cooks in the kitchen? Like, if you have, like, will that, what ways?
Wow, dude.
No, I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding like an asshole. Like, I don't
Why
want
let
to sound
that
like
stop
an asshole.
you? I mean,
yeah, why let that stop me?
These are guys who have talked about infidelity and punching dolphins.
That's
Let's just,
Susan, when you're right.
lean into it.
When you're right, you're right. All right, so
Okay.
the dickhead version of this question is you guys have a system, it works. Why fuck with something that's not broken? Like,
There you go.
do you have any concern that, yes, like, as you ramp up, as you bring in more people, like, what if all of a sudden having, like, a bunch of animators and a huge art team that isn't just Jeff fucks with, your chemistry?
I think, like, I know Tom mentioned, obviously, a team of however many, 18 artists or whatever. I don't think we'd ever get to that level. I just think that there are, like, key roles that we've kind of just merged into one person, without them signing any any disclaimers or anything like that. And suddenly they're not only the artists, but their UI art, they are animation, they are everything. And on this project, we had the wonderful Manuel, who was our artist and graphic designer. We had Rob, who was working on it. But if we'd not wanted to kill everybody on the team, which we did, including ourselves, we'd have probably had 4 artists, maybe. Might that have caused more problems? No, I think it might have made everyone's lives a lot easier.
Well, even if it does cause any kind of personality conflict or make things a little more complicated, you're basically just choosing which set of problems you want. Do you want to drive everyone's health and mental well-being into the ground? Or do you maybe want to have some uncomfortable conversations at work?
Yeah, that hits the nails on the head, totally.
If you're talking about, like, genuine, like, mental health stuff, all 3 of us had genuine mental health breakdowns during development. I'm not saying that lightly. I'm saying that, like, actual end of days. Like, this is it. And this was once during OlliOlli1, once during OlliOlli2, and once in Night Hero. And all of us faced that moment of, okay, this is too much. I'm out. Kind of end of day scenario, and we stupidly pushed ourselves to that. It was all of our own doing, but we genuinely did it. And the fact that we're able to talk about it afterwards and have the be here on a live stream with you while you whisper sweet nothings into our ears about the fact that it's games, it is amazing. But I'd like to think that one of the things that we did when we finished all of this was we sat down and said, guys, we can never do that again, ever.
This is not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not fair on our brains, it's not fair on our partners, it's not fair on our friends and families, it's just not fair on anyone. No one benefits from it, and it doesn't matter at the end of it that you put out a great game if you've killed yourself doing so. And that was on the cards at a lot of times over the last 3 years. So I think mental well-being will be at the forefront of what we do, and I think actually, like, that's going to make Roll7 a better studio. Like, more time.
Absolutely.
And
it's really great that you're being so open and direct about it, because I think there's definitely within, and especially within the indie dev culture, this sort of, we'll just power through and get the game out and everything will be okay.
Totally.
Yeah. No, we really kind of feel that. And there's almost a kind of what's the word? Kudos to being that kind of, I'm so busy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy. And I think also we realised we'd always heard about crunch before we kind of, jumped on board with OlliOlli. And I think, like as Si said, it's only now kind of we realised how much crunch we had done. We speak to studios and they're saying, oh yeah, around beta it got pretty crazy, and we did those 2 weekends. Oh, bloody hell, we did weekends for like 4 months in a row.
Oh wow.
God.
Along with nights.
15-hour days.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was actually it was insane. And as I said, kind of obviously family, partners, close to us, but we just didn't see friends either. Kind of sounds like we're kind of going into a big sob story here, which we're not trying to do at all.
No, I don't. One of the things that I always want is for people to know what the hell it takes to get a video game made. And I mean, hell, man, that's not a sob story. You guys.
That's reality.
That's reality.
Yeah.
And it's something that a lot of developers are really unwilling to talk about because they don't want to. They don't want. There is this whole culture of, oh, we'll just power through and sleep under your desk, and if you're not doing that, you don't want it enough.
Right.
And so a lot of developers are really reluctant to talk about the toll that takes on you. So I'm really glad you guys are talking about this right now.
And getting and like the fact that a huge part of the way you're changing the way you develop games is making sure that you don't do that.
Yeah.
That you stay healthy, because if you're not healthy, you don't keep making stuff. Like
Exactly.
And I think actually, it would be interesting to see sort of if we're still having this same conversation in 18 months' time when whatever we do next comes out and it's either a success or not. It might be that we've just, oh, you guys, yeah, you really you didn't really work that hard on that. Wow, you guys really, yeah. But I'd like to think that there's definitely times for pressure and there's times for those tough conversations with each other and like those late nights. But if it is every single night, your brain can't deal with that, and actually you're not performing at your best. And actually, it doesn't matter that you're doing 15 hours a day. You're probably only doing about 4 hours of effective work.
Right.
That is the reality. For the rest of the time, you're sat there just stressed and worried, and you're not doing quality work, and ultimately it will be discarded, or it won't be used at all. So
Go home and see your family.
Yeah,
go home and swear at your children.
Yes. Punch a dolphin.
Punch a dolphin.
They're
See,
my children.
that's the poster that you guys can have as like a motivational thing on the wall at the
Go
new
home
Roll
and punch your
7
children?
Yeah, no, go home and punch a dolphin. That's the ultimate form of relaxation.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys are still in break mode. You guys are, Tom, you're expanding your family. Simon, you've got a bottle of wine. You guys got things happening. At what point do we start hearing about what's next for you guys?
Okay. Well, we have. It's interesting. We kind of we've been on breaks and stuff, but we've still been doing a lot of stuff. As OlliOlli2 port, Not Hero port to PS4 is being worked on at the moment as well. But we are actually now in the process. We've got, I think, about 3 prototypes that have been worked on for a long time, sometimes during the development of last year. And basically over the next, I suppose, few months, we're kind of really going to develop those prototypes even further, and from there kind of work out what the next project is.
What was it? Someone said to us it's called No, hang on.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, scrap that. Let's just start a new game tomorrow. We'll bring it out in April.
Okay.
That's it. We're just going. We want to make sure that, I think, like I said, make sure that when we're in conversations with a lot of publishers. I think this year's been incredibly successful for us, and I think a lot of people have taken note of what we've done. So it's quite nice. We've got big publishers coming to us. We're able to go and talk to people. So we've got a lot of options at the moment, but we just want to make sure that what we go forward with next, is really good. And I suppose we don't want to rest on our laurels as well. We want to kind of evolve what we're doing, kind of challenge ourselves and come out with something really interesting. And there's a number of things that could be at the moment. I can't go into too much detail about what those would be, but I don't know. I mentioned We'll have to announce something next year, I imagine. Otherwise, it's all gone horribly wrong.
And I like that. Otherwise, we've messed up royally.
If you don't announce anything next year, just give up. Give up on us.
We're done.
It's over.
Yeah.
Assume you've gone off to punch those dolphins in the sky.
Yeah.
We find Simon, he's just weeping in a corner.
At E3. What are you doing here? I just couldn't stay away.
I missed you guys. Are you going to IHOP? Can I come too?
I want those pancakes.
What a good actors.
Will you guys? And so this is another thing that Susan and I were talking about before you guys got on here. Why is it that nobody loves the PlayStation Vita except for developers and journalists and like 5 other people? What is that?
I think one of those 5 people's Jeff, definitely, our artist. No, it's a real shame, but I think it's mobile, isn't it? It's tablets, and we all know here that you cannot get the same tactile, awesome game experience you can on an iPhone than you can on a Vita.
No.
But people do wonder when they've got, a phone they're paying 40 quid a month for, why they should get, which has got, 500,000 games on it?
Yeah.
Most of which are,
Most of them are
really
garbage.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're all great. Every last
that's
one of them.
what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I sold my Vita, because the quality of the iPhone games library.
If you okay, being perfectly honest. If you are not into JRPGs or indie games like OlliOlli, the Vita is a vast and barren wasteland.
I mean, no, I take issue with that statement.
Okay.
Because there is an enormous library of really cool PlayStation 1 and PS2.
Oh, okay, that is absolutely true. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Like, there's a ton of stuff. It's just not stuff, like, it's very limited who wants that. Like,
okay.
You need to be the kind of person who thinks to themselves, like, oh yeah, I want to play Crush, the weird dimension warping platformer that Climax made for the PSP in like 2005. Like, you gotta be looking for that stuff.
You have to be the person who's saying, I haven't played every single Harvest Moon game yet.
Right. That's who you gotta be. So I asked you guys this because I want to know if in 18 months, I recognize the fact that even in 18 months, the Vita market might be so moribund that it's not even worth it anymore. I hope that's not the case. But will you guys continue to work on that platform?
I mean, we'd really like to, definitely. I think we owe everything to the Vita, and that's why Sony signed us up in the first place to do the Vita exclusive. I think, like you say, in 18 months, who knows where it will be, and a lot of it's going to be down to, I suppose, who the publisher is and kind of what they want to do. And that's always a kind of, one of the realities that we're going to have to contend with. But, at the moment, it still seems to have a life, and it's still got a lot of really good content coming out for it. So, yeah, fingers crossed it is still here in 18 months' time.
Oh man, I really hope so. God, I love that little thing. I readily admit that it has everything to... Where else can I play Castlevania Chronicles? Which is the PlayStation 1 port of an obscure PC version of Castlevania. See, again, that's the kind of thing that's the Vita fan, that mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 1 minute left. Tom, Simon, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I love it when you guys come on. It is always so much fun when you guys come on. So the moment that you have something that you're working on, even if it's just a prototype, you drop us a line.
If you're feeling a little drinky,
yeah,
and you just want to hang out,
if you're feeling a little drinky and you want to hang out, play some video games,
that's totally cool too.
We want that. We want that all the time. Everybody, if you didn't gather from the tone of the conversation, you can play OlliOlli2 right now on pretty much everything under the sun. It is now available on PC if that is where you get your games happening. I enjoy this game a lot, and thank you both for being with us.
Thank you for having us on. Always good to talk to you guys.
Yeah, and like seriously, man, Dolphin Puncher demo next time. Dolphin Puncher prototype. Actually, who here really hopes that they bring back like somebody's name in front, like American McGee's blank before the name of a game?
Jacques Cousteau's
Dolphin Puncher. See, I want all Oculus games to just have Palmer Luckey's name in front of them because it's such a great name. And Palmer Luckey's Dolphin Puncher.
It can't be a real name, can it?
It really sounds made up. And I say that as a person who used a made-up name for a decade of their life. It sounds super made up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not saying that Palmer Luckey's name is made up. That's not a thing.
No, we're not. We're not saying that. He's a lovely person.
Lovely human being. And actually, if you want to read a really badass interview with Palmer Luckey, go to gamesradar.com. We talked to him about the future of virtual reality games, and he had some very interesting things to say. And yeah, if you have not already, click that little heart below the video player. That's how you will follow us. We do this 4 days a week, Monday through Friday. We're going to pop that schedule up for you right now. And we have some really awesome stuff coming up next week. We will not be here on Monday. Our stream will be taking the Labor Day holiday here in the U.S. But on Tuesday, we'll be back, and we'll be hanging out with the creative team behind Marvel Comics' The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which is
I am so excited about this.
Oh, it's so great, and they're going to be so much fun. Ryan and Erica, the writer and artist, respectively, on Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, we're going to be hanging out and playing Dungeons and Dragons: Shadow over Mystara. Susan, do you want to know why we're playing that?
Why?
Because I love it. I love that game.
That works.
Well, they said, hey, we have Wii U's, and we want to play a Wii U game with you. And I was like, what will people not be streaming on Tuesday, September 8th? I don't think anybody's going to be streaming the Wii U version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, everybody, be back here next week. We've got that. We'll be playing this really weird PC game that sort of looks like Afterburner on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we're going to have the developers of Armello on, telling us how you... Yeah!
Yay!
And Susan, do you want to actually play that with me? We'll get some,
definitely.
Yeah, we'll make sure everybody can play. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Follow us. We'll be back. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.